Hello guys, once again it's Matt, and today we have another video. So let's thank our members first: Overlanding 11B, Cots, and Crazy Bull. Thank you for being the full crew members, Fox Spam members, and Fish Spam members. Thank you all, it helps a lot. You have no idea. Make sure to subscribe and be a member if you want to help the channel a little bit. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the aircraft and a feature that I talked about it this week on the My Wishes video, for the future of War Thunder and especially for the next patch. And we have the ground radars for aircraft, for fixed wing aircraft. Of course, we have a lot of ground radars for helicopters. I'm going to show on the KA-52 here. Let me get some Vickers. And yeah, but basically there is many types of ground radars, and the helicopters, we have basically one of them, as you see here. It's basically for detection of ground targets. As you see right there on the radar screen, we are looking at this. It has relative control, so let me take that out. For example, here, always take this out, okay, guys? Always. This just destroys everything. And how to lock space, okay. So yeah, basically here we are looking for a radar. Look, a radar target. Basically, you're going to actually lock a target with the radar, as you see. See? Right there. And then you can just look at the target. So, for example, I'm going to lock this one. And it's just easier to just lock where the target is. For example, here, I'm not looking at the target there. But if I lock it, my aim will go to the target directly. So it's easier to find targets, and it's just a better way to just find targets basically and designate them for you to just launch a missile. For example, I'm right here, I detected a target here, I'm going to lock it, and then I'm already here. So I just need to point the nose to the target and launch a missile, and everything is fine, and the target will be destroyed. So it is one of the reasons why I want the ground radars in aircraft, in fixed wing aircrafts. It's to actually help find targets. This is the main reason, but there is another ones. We are going to take a look as well. We have different types of ground radars, or different types of ground modes for radars, like the aircraft, like the helicopters. They have both modes, they are one single antenna, as you see, but they have a mode for air-to-air combat and for air-to-ground. And many aircraft have that as well. One of them, and the most advanced one that we can see in game, I think, right now, is the AJ-37. Right now, it's kind of a weird position that the PS-37A over here, it has basically the same functions as the PS-46, I think it's called, from the vegan, the Yacht vegan, PS-46. So yeah, it basically has TWS, it has everything like that, it has pulse Doppler and stuff like that. But in real life and in DCS, for example, this radar, or a different type of this version, because in DCS it's a more modern version of the AJ-37. But we have ground modes for detection for ground targets as well, or terrain mapping. So for example, here we have the Chuck's guide on the vegan. I'm going to leave it in the description. Amazing guides that we always see. Go help him out. He has a Patreon as well. But he has manuals for aircraft and other stuff like that in the CS. Many aircraft have that. So, and as you see, I'm using here just to show a little bit. For example, let me show to you guys. I think it's right here, for example. It's detecting a ship, for example, here, right? So in real life, this radar can be used for detecting air targets, ground targets, and also for terrain avoidance. So it makes you a little bit more careful when you are flying in a very, like, in a place that has a lot of mountains or stuff like that. So for example, we have the terrain avoidance modes, for example. See right here? So it's detecting the mountain, and if you have to turn to not crash it. So there's many types of modes. Memory mode, for example, here to the fleet of ships that it's detected before, and just to maintain. Even air to ground stuff like not really tanks or anything like that, but more like bigger stuff. So yeah, it has many types of modes and ways to detect a target, even air to air, for example. As you see here, the targets in the air to air, and I think it can do both, detect air targets and uh, like ship targets at the same time. But still, it is a very complex radar, obviously, but it is in the game right now a version of that radar, and it doesn't have this functionality of detecting ships, detecting tanks or anything like that. So, or even terrain avoidance, you know. I know it's not the most useful thing, but we have the aircraft in game that has that type of system. So I would suggest that it's a very good idea to actually add this. To be honest, it's not a very complex thing to actually do, I think, especially because there aren't many aircraft that have that in game right now. But in the future, the more we go into the future, the more aircraft will have that. So basically they could just add the system right now and developed better. So for example, two good options that we always talk about is the A4E. It has a radar here, right? This is a ground radar. It's a radar that will detect many. It will be used for many things. One of them is to be used for the CCRP mode for the bombs. It will create a beam of radio waves from the front of the aircraft right there, and with that, with the bouncing back of the radiation from the stuff on the ground, it will basically uh, learn the distance from the target, and with that it can calculate the release point for the bombs, for example. So very cool and modern stuff from the 50s aircraft to 60s aircraft, you know. Another mode that this aircraft had is the terrain avoidance. You would basically have a ground clutter, the same way that we have in other radars. So for example, here we have the F5, just for you to know. As you see the ground clutter there that you see, you would see that coming from a mountain, for example, or basically something that it's higher than the sea level, for example, that you are looking at. So yeah, instead of just having like a fixed ground clutter on the terrain level, you would have different types of um, basically clutters, and it would basically means that you would know where a mountain is even if you are not looking at anything. You would be looking down here, for example, and you would see a mountain right in front of you. So yeah, basically there are many types of radar modes and radar ground stuff. You know, like I said, the main thing, the initial thing that they could add is the terrain avoidance. Very easy, I think, to code or something like that. But still, I'm not expert on that, so yeah, I don't know. But still, normally very, I would think that it's kind of easy. The A7, it's another aircraft that has that. But instead of only having the terrain avoidance mode, these aircraft can also sometimes detect ship targets, normally at earlier aircraft. And later aircraft like the Su-24, for example, and even the Tornado, I think, or Su-34 aircraft like that, they can actually detect tanks very quickly and very easily. So that a way the aircraft can be used as an all-weather attacker aircraft, like the Su-24 is, for example. So yeah, the basis for it right now would be just to have the terrain avoidance system. Basically, this is it. This is the main thing. And in the future, we can see stuff like the AJ-37 with its ship detection and even more advanced stuff like that. You know, there aren't many aircraft, as I said, in the U.S. I remember only the A4 and the A7s. In Germany right now, no aircraft. In the USSR, I don't think there is any aircraft. The UK, the Buccaneer, but I don't think the capabilities of the radar on the Buccaneer are that great, to be honest. But it has a radar that can help with that as well. I don't think what are the capabilities of it, but still. Japan, I think the F1 has some modes for that, but I'm not sure. In China, we don't have anything. In Italy, we don't have anything. In France, I don't think we have anything. Not right now, at least. The vegan would be in the Sweden, and Israel can have the E4s as well. So there aren't many aircraft yet for that that has a system like that, you know. But in the future, we will have the Su-24, the F-111, the Tornado, the Su-34. Many MiG-29s have, later MiG-29s have radar modes for ground. F-18s has radar for that. F-16s, later ones, have radars that can do that as well. So there's many aircraft in the future that will have at least a terrain following kind of thing, or a terrain avoidance system. And more advancedly, they would have stuff like ship detection, and later even tank detection and stuff like that. Even material detection. Know that this is a tank that it's like made out of metal, so it's probably a tank. It's ways. I mean, more modern stuff than that is kind of classified, but still, it is a matter of time until we get aircraft that had types of systems like that. And I think we should get it in War Thunder right now in this aircraft. It's more of a fun factor than anything else, to be honest, but still a very fun thing and very useful depending on the situation. The most advanced one would be the vegan, but still it is very capable with other aircraft as well. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe, and bye guys. See ya.